So, today we're going to go over the basic things to have a complete sentence. And oftentimes in your writing, I ask for complete sentences. And some of you think you're doing complete sentences, but you're not. Some of you think that a complete sentence is this really long thing and that I'm asking for a novel. Again, I'm not. So, there are five basic things that a complete sentence has to have. And we're just going to go over this. You probably will know that all of these things you've already learned them. And this is just review for you. That's my hope, at least. But it's always good to have review and kind of refresh because I'm seeing a lot of mistakes in writing and I want to make sure that we get those corrected. So here we go. All right, the first thing that every sentence has to have, capital letter. You have to have a capital letter at the beginning of your sentence, even if it's cute little I, because I know ladies sometimes like to put the I with a little heart above it, make it look all purty and everything, but that's not accurate. So then it makes it an incomplete sentence. You have to have a capital letter at the beginning of every sentence. Then you have to have punctuation. It doesn't matter what type of sentence it is, it has some sort of punctuation at the very end of the sentence. If it's a statement, like if you're just saying something, or if it's a command, like go over there, it's probably going to have a period at the end. If you're shouting something, if you're saying go over there, that would have an exclamation point or something of excitement in some way. And if you're asking a question, you got to have a question mark. That tells your reader how to read the sentence as well. Then you have to have a subject or a noun in your sentence. The subject is a person, place, or thing that is doing something in the sentence. It's the main person of your sentence, and it's usually at the beginning. So if I say, Jim threw the ball to Tom, I know people get confused because they see Jim and Tom. There's two people in that sentence. Who's the subject? It's the person doing something. So Jim threw the ball. So Jim is your subject. That's what you need to remember. The beginning of the sentence, the person or thing doing something is your subject. Then you have to have a verb or a predicate. That's the action word. That's what that subject is doing. Jim threw the ball to Tom. He threw the ball. That's the action. That's your predicate. It always comes after the subject. And really, if you're breaking apart a sentence into subject and predicate, in Jim threw the ball to Tom, you find the very first verb, threw, that's the action. Everything before it is the subject, Jim. Everything after it's the predicate, threw the ball to Tom. So you have to, so far, capital letter, punctuation, subject, predicate. The last thing you have to have is probably common sense, I would think. And it's super simple, but it's actually where most of you are messing up for one big reason. And that is, it has to make sense and be a complete thought. It can't just be a part of a sentence. So, unless you know how to punctuate properly, which you'll learn in a minute, if you start a sentence with and, but, so, also, because, you're not writing a complete sentence. That's where I'm losing you. If I say, why did Jim throw the ball to Tom? And you say, because they were playing a game. That's not a complete sentence. So you have to have that subject at the beginning. So you could restate the question then. Again, why did Jim throw the ball to Tom? Jim threw the ball to Tom because they were playing a game. That's how you write a complete sentence. So remember, you have to restate that question anytime you want it to work. And actually, there is something called the sentence diagram. You probably won't remember this later, but it goes over all the things to remember about how to write a complete sentence. And I'm going to show you it kind of in the camera like that. Right? So it starts out with a capital letter. That's that pyramid at the beginning. Then you have your sentence with punctuation at the end, your three choices. You have your subject, your predicate, and it has to make sense all the way throughout. So sometimes when I'm grading your papers, if there's a lot of incomplete sentences, I might draw this diagram at the top of your paper. And that's your clue that you have a lot of incomplete sentences, that you need to go back and make sure that all of your sentences meet one of these five criteria. So we're going to check it right now. What about this? Is this a complete sentence? Well, let's check it. Does it have a capital letter at the beginning? It does. The B is capitalized. Does it have punctuation at the end? It does. What's the subject or the thing doing something? Birds. What's the predicate or the action? Fly, because the birds are the ones that are flying. And does it make sense? Birds fly. It most certainly does. So this actually, while it's only 2 words, is a complete sentence. And it counts as a complete sentence. It meets all 5 criteria. So as you go to write on your Actively Learns, on your papers, on any of your assignments where I ask for a complete sentence, remember these 5 criteria and check your sentences. Make sure they're accurate before you move